Are you ready? It's it's that I can't really do anything about this, but it's fine. So what's Hi. So what's going on? What kind of soup? Mm-hmm. Wait, the what? That's. I wish I could know what that tastes like. But okay, okay. So what's up? It's going pretty well. Had a pretty chill day. How's it going for you? Are you doing that after? What have you been up to? How's that going? Hmm. Money management. um, is that just like not a thing? Sure, yeah. I feel like, and I am trying to crack that universal problem. Mm-hmm. Understood. Um, do you feel like how much control do you feel like you have over your life? That was just a question that hit me because I feel like, okay. Mm. Mm-hmm. Shit. What just happened? I wasn't supposed to do that. I don't know what happened. Hmm. I wonder what's up with my internet in general. Hi. Um, I can hear you, but I just can't see you. And my download and upload speed is not bad. Okay. Okay, you were saying about schedules and stuff? Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to I think I'm just really interested in finding what elements make up motivation. All I can do is break down myself and why I have it and then try to I deconstruct that by reverse engineering it and then seeing if I can apply it to other people. And like the biggest thing I always go back to is like, oh, I have a vision and I'm really adamant about it, about making sure that I get to that place. So the motivation has never really gone away. I've given it like, I've put it on rest once, and then there was like a psychological, scientific thing that happened. Because I've been like pretty, at least since high school, I've been pretty motivated since then, but maybe like, I want to say a year and a half ago, I kind of put that to the side because I was trying to figure out some stuff internally instead of trying to keep going. because I just felt like I wasn't going in the right direction. Um, so once I put it to rest and it became a habit, and I started developing new habits, um, the motivation was still there somewhere. I just wasn't really acting on it. Um, and then when I tried to jump straight back into it, it wasn't the same. Because it actually felt harder, and I was like, this is how people feel all the time, and I'm like, that is stupid. So like, because I had put myself in a routine on purpose, to better understand myself. So I was like, let me do what everyone else is doing on some level, with a little bit more reflection and observation. And so once I put myself in a pretty much basic routine, I found that, yeah, I didn't have the energy to make stuff. My stamina was shorter. I wasn't eating as well either. So I was like, yeah, I just don't have the capacity to go like I used to. And so and then I kept trying to like climb out of that by just storming forward, which I think is definitely a part of that process, going, but having, still staying true to that vision. So like, oh, okay, like I know why I need to keep going forward. So this is me trying to climb out of that. But I was very observant along the way. So I didn't just like ignore all the feelings that came up. I was like, oh, I feel this way while this is happening. And so I would take some time with that. So it kind of delayed jumping straight back into motivation. It kind of reminds me of like push-ups or like lifting, where if you step away, you have to kind of gradually go up. So it's one of those things. And then also like external things that were happening in my life that kind of reminded me to keep going. So like I had a regular job. I wasn't really dancing as much. And I did that to myself because I felt like I needed that. And I let go of a lot of teaching jobs that I was doing. And then I didn't really see people. I didn't really care to see people. I just felt like I needed to be by myself. And then once I was let go of the job, that was when like I was super amped. And this was like January. Like I got let go in, I think, early December or mid-December or some shit of last year. Then it was January, February where I was just like on fire, just like, because I had time and I still had some money. So I was just working and figuring stuff out. But then like, I want to say mid-February or so, March, April, around that time span, like another thing like ticked for me. Because first I experimented with, that's so loud. I experimented with management and trying to build other artists, which are just my friends. And then I learned very quickly, you could say, that I was like, that's not going to work, because I started to learn about myself, and then I started to learn about certain people, and I was just like, things are not aligned for them. And so it doesn't matter how hard I push them. It doesn't matter how much I believe in them. Like, I could only do so much because that person, I'm talking very specifically about someone, it's not a secret, but I was working very tight-knit with someone and just really, really pushing. And they were like there, and I was already in the... I don't know what that is, but that's mad loud. I don't know if you know where the mic is, but that's just loud as fuck when you just did what you just did. The mic is there somewhere, so if you know where it is, if something rubs against it, it's really loud. So yeah, pretty much was I was okay with being like a dad, like a man, like a full manager, like doing everything right. But then it's probably on the mic is probably on the laptop then. Yeah. Well, you're talking through something. Yeah, it's probably somewhere on the laptop, which I assumed. But basically, that was an experiment in learning that you just, and I was really persistent, like, and I was filling in the holes and being over the top, like good and supporting in every way that I could. Um, but it didn't matter. Maybe if I stuck it through even longer, but like it was enough time for me to realize that okay, that's not. It just kind of reminds me of giving something 100%, but then only getting like 20-30% in return, and I wasn't really into that. And then eventually, I kind of was just like, then I want to start moving more in my own direction. And life will always. That's kind of like a reoccurring theme for me, because I'm always trying to do stuff with other people, um, and like build something with someone, and time and time again has shown me that it's like not worth it, with the people that I've been choosing, to be very like very very specific about that, because I know that there are certain people that I feel like I could build something more long lasting with right now. But yeah, that was enough for me to realize that I'm gonna continue to experiment, but I'm gonna focus more on myself, which is then I started branding myself as the person that you know today. So before it wasn't like that. I was very well known as a dancer and as a choreographer. And then I started doing my blogs again, being consistent with that. And I was more active on social media because I made that a goal. I used to do that before, but then I stopped and I came back. Um, Whoever's listening to me, whether it's Carla, can you throw on headphones or something? It's really distracting. Because I lose my train of thought. I don't even know what I'm saying. Um, 'Cause I know we're still on the topic of motivation, so I'm like trying to figure this out. Um, yeah, I just want to see where I could tie it in. Um, I mean, basically, I found what I wanted to do for myself. I continued. I then, yeah, and then I did intermission, and I literally took everything that I had figured out, um, in my span of studying myself, and I applied it to this group and learned even more things. And then just recently dropping my consistency with like any online stuff for the most part, and not doing any group affiliated things, just so I could focus on myself. But oh, so that was okay, yeah, because I was saying like rising back to motivation, and so after leaving that job and then kind of getting that spark again, and then taking my brand seriously, it kind of just kept snowballing and going. And there was one final lesson. That's what it was. There was a final lesson, and that was, I guess, sometime in the spring again, February, March, April. I'd made plans with someone, and they bailed, and that just like it happens, right? So it's happened to me so many times, and I feel like it happens to everybody. And usually, I'm kind of just like, I get a little salty over that, and I kind of I move quick, and I'm like, ugh, like, so annoying, blah, and I'm just like, I'm just not gonna bother, and that's my usual attitude, whenever that happens. But I was like, you know, what judgment I have on the person I make plans with, whether it's a good or bad judgment or whatever, doesn't matter how established they are or how well put together, doesn't matter who it is. I was like, this always happens, no matter where I'm at in my life. And I was very empathetic in that moment. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, like it's not their fault. And I was just like, and at the time I was also starting to listen to Gary Vee, and I was just like, it's true that like, because at the end of the day, like, I can't control that outcome, but I can control how I react to that. And so I was like, okay, like I just get it. It doesn't matter who it is. It's always gonna keep happening to me, no matter where I'm at in my life. Just like I'll give you an example today, right? Um, Someone else was supposed to be on the stream today earlier. It was supposed to be Lucy. And if my mindset was like, if there were other pieces in my head, I could have been like, wow, like, you obviously, we planned that like more than a month ahead or so. Now it's like, because of her, I'm like looking to like replace her with somebody else, or like da 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 da. So it's like wasting my time, and it's like, oh, she doesn't take this seriously, and like how could she do? Like I could get into that whole thing. Yeah, and it's like it's not worth it. It's not. It's focus on solution. So if you, as you start to like continue to like know who I am, or if we talk and stuff, I'm very solution based. Like when people talk about stuff, it kind of like I'm listening, but I've also heard it so many times that it kind of just flies. It goes straight through me because I'm like, that all of that is you being a human being, and like that is your little sprinkle of stuff. What's up, man? Um, that's your personality. That's how your life is at right now. But it just like it's not necessarily, it's not always special. So if I'm not catching anything unique in that complaining or presentation of complaints or struggles, then it kind of just filters through, and I'm focusing on the solution. Because it just, y'all can talk, you could talk forever about like something that's not working, but you'll know that like I focused straight on the solution. So I was just like, okay, I wasn't mad at her or anything. I was like, all right, cool. And then I just focused on deciding what I wanted to do, and I was like, am I just gonna ride this out and just stream by myself, or am I gonna have someone on? I was like, I'll just ask around while I'm cleaning. So I did that. Um, but yeah, that was like the final piece to like really intense motivation. Because what that helped with was again more empathy and just patience for myself. And I was like, dude, that's so cool. Because I had more patience for others because I understood. And I always say I'm not perfect at all, like not even close. Like I'm not the best at getting back to people or remembering stuff. Like I'm just not, right. And I don't expect anyone to cut me slack, but I know that because I am also imperfect, that it's okay that other people are the same way. Um, so yeah, that was the final piece to me, just like continuing to go. And so being at this motivation thing now, when I ask you about control, how much control do you feel like you have over your life? One of the elements in my head that helped me a lot is that I feel like I'm really in control of things, because I'll never make myself a victim of anyone else. I don't blame anyone else for anything that happens to me. Um, so when I recognize that my power is choosing how I can deal with something, that's when I feel like I'm in control. And because I feel like I have control over a majority of my life, at least the ones that I'm aware of, day to day, I feel really good. Um, I can control how I'm gonna get to this vision, um, and I have the patience to kind of to take up any kind of obstacles that come my way. Um, so if I feel like if you don't feel like you're in control of certain things, um, that's probably one reason. Um, sure. Uh-huh. I see. Mm-hmm. 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 Um. Okay. So the pessimism. Pessimism. Negativity. All right. Well, a good way to move away from that is to get away from how I am and just say how I choose to be. When you can say that, it hurts and it stings a little more. But the thing is that phrasing gives you power to change. And it's just it's just science. So like it's market to yourself that you're aware that you could change. So you'll never hear me say like that's just how I am. And if I do, it's like that's how I am right now, because I'm very aware that you could change constantly, constantly, constantly. You just have to recognize that you can and then choose to. Mm-hmm. 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 I see. Hey, Colin, are you busy?
Not really. That's good.
Would you at any point would you at any point in your life consider yourself a pessimist?
Yeah.
All right, can you come here real quick?
I'm like, actually, I'll call myself. Yeah, I'm more of a realist, but I've been a pessimist.
All right, so here's my friend who I've known since first grade, who at one point considered himself a pessimist, which
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I still am, but maybe.
I think that he's evolved. So,
Yeah.
what do you feel like? Hold on, I'm gonna have to switch the audio real quick so that Cullen can hear you talk. Okay. Yeah. So, what do you feel like? Okay. So, as a friend looking from the outside,
Okay.
I think you've changed for
Yeah.
sure, and you've worked towards being different. So that's a real thing. I don't know if your mic or I don't know if your headphones are picking up on the audio that you're happening over there, but
yeah, they are. They're picking up the conversation between them. I'm pretty sure.
Sorry, I'll be quiet.
hold on, let me check.
Whoa, that's not Batana. Oh, it's another person. Oh, hello. Oh my god, I'll be quiet now.
Okay,
Hey, what's up?
so yeah, he's someone that I've known him, and he's definitely changed. I'd say he considers himself a realist. I don't even know what that is anymore. Like I do know by definition, but I don't know what it is anymore in my head. Realist. I'd say on some level optimistic too, and just like open to possibility and knowing that lots of things are possible. But he wasn't always like that. So
I guess yeah, I guess you've seen. It's
I've
funny
seen you
because like,
I've seen you change.
yeah, so I've known Vatana, I think since the first grade. We went to elementary school together, and he went to the same middle school, but then he moved away, and I met him again in high school because he moved back. So it's a little, and like I've been friends with him ever since. So I guess he would be probably the best person to like talk about my growth, because actually it's cool that you bring that up, because I never thought of like asking you about how I've grown. We should have a conversation next week
Yeah.
about that. But I would say Yeah, I used to be a really big pessimist. I used to really see things negatively. Like when I would jump into a situation, I'd be like, "Oh, what can go wrong?" I'd be like,
Yeah.
"I'm like, damn, bro, like so many things go wrong. I'm not doing this shit." And like to be honest, like even now, like I do still think about the negatives before I say yes to something. But I would say I'm more open minded because a lot of stuff is on the other side of fear, right? Even like, and I've learned this firsthand. Like a lot of stuff that's worth having is afraid to pursue. I've been in many situations where like I was afraid to do something, but after I did it, I felt so much better. I guess an example was like I went to Cambodia, right, for a vacation, and before I went, I was very I would say like kind of apprehensive to go because I like it's a third world country and I was afraid of like getting lost or getting robbed or something bad happening to me or getting sick from eating the food, you know, like throwing up stuff. So like, but the thing is, after I went or while I was there, I realized that like, man, I'm having a real good time and I'm really happy I'm here and I'm happy I was brave enough to come because the country was beautiful. I learned a lot more about kind of like where my parents came from and my heritage. And you know, I wouldn't have grown if I was afraid, right? Because like if I was afraid, I wouldn't have gone, and if I didn't go, I wouldn't have seen these things. I wouldn't have grown. So a lot of things in life, even if you're a pessimist, sometimes it's like you should override those feelings because that's just like your fear talking first. It's like your fear is looking out for your survival, right? But the thing is, in this life, a lot of things aren't gonna kill you anymore. I think back maybe when we were like not living in society, like obviously it's scary to go venture out at night to go do something because you might get killed by a lion or something. But nowadays there's not a lot to fear anymore because we live in societies that kind of protect us, or like we live in like these artificial, but like we live in like cities or stuff that like are safer than living in a wild thing, like a wild place. So a lot of these feelings of pessimism, they're not necessary. They don't really serve a good purpose. I mean, at the same time, being a realist means like you analyze all possibilities and you just pick the one that has the best result. So, but being a pessimist to me means like you automatically default to like saying no because you're scared. So
Yeah,
being a realist,
default, no, like even if like the cons for me outweigh the pros, even if the pros are way better than
yeah.
the cons.
So that's a
It's just how that is.
Yeah, so that's like the first step. Since you just said like even if the pros outweigh the cons, a realist would be like the pros outweigh the cons. I'm freaking doing that. You know what I mean? Like, and like it's easy to default to say no, but like honestly, I challenge you to try saying yes to something and then try it wholeheartedly because I think at the other side of that experience you're going to grow a lot, and you're gonna realize that like taking a risk like kind of pays off sometimes. And I would say not even sometimes, it pays off more often than not because even if you don't have the intended outcome, at least you grow from it, right? I'd rather grow from a mistake than stay the same being afraid. So you're honestly never going to you're never going to grow to the next person you have to be, the future you, if you never take these risks, right? So honestly, even if you're afraid, say yes, but do it in a realist way. For me, I wouldn't say yes to everything. I'll say yes if like I'm really interested in the possible outcomes, or if like that the opportunity is interesting to me. But I would challenge you to be more of a realist, and even take more risk, and I think you'll grow a lot from it. But yeah,
And even then, like that would be like a really hard thing for me to do because like
how
I feel like
yeah
sometimes my pessimism is like the one thing that stops me from doing most things that I'd like
yeah
and want to do. Like throughout the day, like I think of, ooh, what should I do? Or just anything, and I'll be like, I probably shouldn't do that. Like, and like, this is gonna happen, or this other thing, or that other thing. It's
Yeah.
like the one thing that just kind of like stops me from just doing things.
yeah
And I guess it's a big part that like just controls of like what I do throughout the day.
hmm I think
Yeah.
even for me, like I should even bring up something that happened to me like a couple days ago. So my friend, like, he invited me to go out to a karaoke bar in Boston, and legit, I wanted to say no. Like, that was the first time I wanted to say was no, because I'm like, bro, I'm kind of tired. I don't want to drive out to Boston, man. That's a long drive. I have to go find parking. I hate driving in Boston, so much traffic. But then the reason why I said yes, like a few moments later after thinking about it, because I'm a realist, I don't just say yes automatic. I thought about the experience I would get out of it. I'm like, oh, I get to catch up with some friends I haven't seen in a long time. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk to him about. And this is a perfect opportunity to strengthen our relationship and to also, like, you know, talk to him about these things that I want to talk to him about in person. So, like, for me, the benefit of going to that event outweighed the cons of driving and going to that event. So, like, in a realist fashion, I was like, let me do this calculation. Damn, going to this shit, excuse me for cursing, but going to this event has a better outcome than me staying home. So that's the reason why I went, even if I didn't want to, right, initially. And even after I went, I felt like, damn, I'm so happy to be here. I'm really happy to be in Boston right now, hanging out with my friends, having a good time. So, like, I had a blast. And I'm glad I said yes instead of saying no. So I challenge you, just do that calculation. If the outcome is better than the cost, that's a good thing to pay. That's a good trade. So do it.
So what do you think, if you remember personally, like, at what point did that start to happen? What things kind of came into your life to kind of push you in that direction? That I don't know.
When I first started, like, not being as pessimistic.
Yeah, like, what do you think were the elements? Because that, to me, like,
that's actually hard to trace process, too. Yeah.
If you can,
let me figure out, like, when I first started being uncomfortable. Because I think the point of growth, like, in order to grow, is being uncomfortable. So being in these situations, we have to make an uncomfortable choice. I think definitely throughout, I would say, like, even in high school, I still felt that way. Mm-hmm. I don't think I changed. But maybe I'll say the first step to kind of, like, accelerate my growth was, like, choosing to dance, right? Okay. Because, you know, I was always I always admire a couple of people I looked up to. I think Derek and Henson, if you remember them.
Yeah.
But, like, they did some popping and locking, and then they're friends of mine. They're friends with my older brother. And I always looked up to them as dancers. And then, you know, dance was really big back then, and Vitano was really into it. And when we first started, like, we all sucked. Like, I honestly felt embarrassed to dance in front of people, and I didn't have any, like, confidence in my own movement. So, like, I think that was, like, kind of, even like, in the beginning, I still didn't feel comfortable with dancing. But I think by the senior year, like, we had the movement. That was, like, the group we had.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty big thing. Like, we had mad kids in it and stuff, and we had a really good time. So I think the beginning of my transformation was when I decided to dance, even if it was uncomfortable. Even if, like, what I got out of it wasn't much. Like, obviously the cost of me, like, spending a lot of time dancing and the benefits of it might not necessarily balance out. Because I could have spent that time doing something else. Like, I could have spent that time trying to get to Harvard. You know what I mean? Like, trying to get to Yale, which I didn't do. But, so, like, instead of going to dance all the time, I could have been, like, doing stuff that would look on my resume so I can get into Harvard. But I didn't do that. Maybe I regret that. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, to be honest, like, I think the best skill I learned in high school was how to dance. Because not even that long ago, I went to this Boston night market. It was like they had, like, a lot of K-pop and stuff, and it was like a dance floor. And, you know, I was dancing because I learned how to dance a long time ago, and that's something I enjoy doing. And I met, like, some, you know, pretty attractive females there just from dancing, and they go to MIT too. So it's like, honestly, like, you know, like, that uncomfortable experience that I had of trying to learn how to dance, it pays off in the future now for me, because I now can dance and be comfortable with myself and express myself, like, through dance. And that's what I do, you know, regularly. I post videos on Instagram of myself dancing. You know, a lot of people like it. They give me compliments and stuff. And also people tell me they're interested in dancing. So I think that was the beginning of, like, my transformation.
I see.
And even in college, like, that process is still going on. I still didn't feel comfortable. Even today, I think that stuff never really goes away. But, you know, taking on challenges, that's all I gotta say. Taking on things that make you feel scared and trying your best to overcome those things, that's how you grow. And then that's how you get over your pessimism. Because I feel like you haven't lived, I don't know how old you are. You look really young. Excuse me?
21.
Oh, you're never mind. I'm sorry. I thought you were younger than that. Okay, that's good. That's cool. So you lived a long time, a decent amount of time. So I'm saying like,
Like a little boy.
yeah, it's all cool. But I think like all this stuff comes from just life experiences. So just putting yourself in more experiences where you make these uncomfortable decisions. That's where you grow the most from. And just do that. Just like make the hard choices because I think they pay off in the end. Or soon. They pay off pretty quickly. So.
I feel comfortable dancing in like in front of my friends, like my really good friends that I know. So like the roommates that I have here, like the one friend that was like dancing behind me when she's on.
Yeah.
But like I only feel comfortable dancing in front of them and like Kara. And me, like Kara always asked me, she was like, you should really dance before I join audition and all that. I'm like, no, I really shouldn't do that. And like again, kind of the cons instead or like against the pros.
Yeah.
And stops me from doing like something like that. And like auditioning for pro night would have been something that I possibly could learn from and like challenge myself and done something different and new. And funny enough, auditions like are something that like I don't really like to do, and I have to do pretty frequent, pretty often, and they just like not that they scare me, but it's just really intimidating. I don't like word audition and just anything to do with that because it just makes me really nervous and anxious, and I'm like very anxious, but kind of. And even like I have to perform a lot throughout the semester too. And again, that's something that gets me anxious and nervous. And I have to do it. It's not like I'm gonna say like, no, I don't want to do it. It's more like you're gonna do it, one for a grade, two because you have to. And again, it's just, oh my gosh, it's not like it's a very dreadful feeling because I know I can't say no and I can't not do it or can't not.
Yeah. I think.
So yeah, there's just like a lot of things that intimidate me and make me anxious. Like you put me in front of a room or you put me in a room with new people or like strangers and I'll start a conversation with them and talking to them like no problem. But like dancing and singing, those are very intimate parts of myself that I don't really it's not that I don't enjoy sharing it, it's just it's something very personal. And I have a problem with displaying intimacy or like not affection, but just like intimacy with like one-on-one person or whether it's like me showing something personal to other people. Like it's just something hard for me to do.
Yeah, I don't think you should ever wear your heart on your sleeve because people can take advantage of that. But definitely the fact that you're vulnerable with your friends, that's a good thing. Those are the people you should be vulnerable with. But you don't necessarily have to be vulnerable or share everything with just anybody because I feel like people have to earn that. Well, I don't know. I guess it's the type of person you are. Maybe you're just open to everybody. But like, I technically am like not very. I would say I'm more cautious when I meet new people. Kind of like don't really open up until I kind of know them well. Actually, I wouldn't say that. Actually, I think I've changed. Actually, scratch that. Because like now I'm mad different now. Actually,
Yes.
forget what I said. Because I go to networking events in Boston all the time, and I always like make a new friend every time I go. So I think like these are things that like. It's going back to that point. It's like stuff that I've chosen to override. Like I've overridden these feelings of like, oh, it makes me anxious. To be honest, like sometimes it still does. Like to present myself in front of people, whether it be talking like a public speech or like dancing. Even I still like get anxious dancing in front of people. But like what I see out of it is like every time I do it, it becomes easier the next time and easier the next time, until eventually I still feel that. I mean, obviously underneath I still have these feelings of anxiousness and like of being judged and stuff. But like I've done it so much that I understand that it's just like it doesn't bother me as much as anymore. And I understand that people they're not really judging you, right? Like when it comes to the dance part, they don't really, they're not really judging your performance because in actuality the people who are watching you don't dance at all. Like they don't know how to dance, so you're already better than them. So it's like there's nothing to be afraid of because they can't judge you. Like there's nothing for them to judge. They have no knowledge to judge. So it's like that's how I justify some of the things I do. But yeah, just be brave, and you're young, so like this is the perfect time to fail, right? Because you're 21. Like you should be making as much mistakes, or like putting yourself in in uncomfortable positions because like growing when you're 20s, that's like kind of like I feel like that's where a lot of people grow a lot, and I feel like that's when you should grow the most. Like you don't want to be like 40 and feel like you're still haven't grown or the same way, because I feel like every day you're growing, or you should be growing. Like the day you stop growing, that's like the day that you're dead or something. So I feel like the rate of your growth is the main factor, because like you're gonna grow by default, but if you put yourself in these positions where you're uncomfortable, you're gonna grow even faster, and that's the advantage you have. I mean, I wouldn't even call it an advantage because that's like a battle against yourself, because you don't have to compare yourself to anyone else. Like as long as you're growing, become a better person than you were yesterday, that's already something to celebrate. So just be brave.
Like beforehand, oh my goodness, you should have seen me. Carla was right next to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're on me, I don't know what to do, I'm so nervous. And I kept on like freaking out. Just like little moments of like, oh my gosh. And Carla was like, no, it's okay. Like you can literally talk about anything. Like it'll be chill. It'll just like be katana. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know. Like the decision of doing this. Carla was always recommending. She's like, wow, you should do a live stream with katana. And then I don't know how this happened, like at all. But I'm thinking that you like were, hey, you should do like a live stream. Like, would you like to do a live stream? And took some time to think about it, and probably this is like one of the things that I wasn't like that I didn't see cons about, because like there's nothing that I don't know. I didn't see the negative situations in this for some reason. It was just something I decided to like let myself do.
That's cool.
That's good. I mean, the fact that you said yes to this, you're growing from this experience because you're put yourself in an uncomfortable spot. And I think, believe me, after we finish this conversation, you're gonna reflect on this and maybe even watch this video again, and you're gonna be smiling and be like, "Yeah, I'm glad I did that," Because that's what I did. I just watched the video that we just recorded, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so happy I did this." And then like just to review the points that we did. But yeah, I think this is like evidence of growth, right? The fact that you're on this podcast is you're growing. So continue doing that. Continue like saying yes at the right opportunities. And that's my advice to you. You still need me?
I mean, that was dope.
Okay. It was nice meeting you. Is it Ashely? Yeah. Nice meeting you, Ashely. My name's Cullin. I'm gonna like get off camera. I don't want to take the limelight from you. This is your moment. I've already had too much camera time. But it was nice talking to you. Take care.
Thanks, man. What did you say?
I'm negative as hell. I'll show you.
Me? I've experimented. So I've had my fair share of like okay, I think positive and negative is subjective. I truly believe in that. I'll give you an example. If you're sad and you want to be left alone in your certain mindset, and someone's all happy-go-lucky in your space and you're not feeling that right now, even though they're like the kindest person, that just might be not good energy for you. And something that reminds me of that is Inside Out, the movie, where there was that moment when that dude or elephant, but he was crying by himself, and the happy emotion came along and tried to make him smile. which didn't really work. But then sadness came along to be sad with him, and then they had a connection and they built a relationship, right? So like I think positive and negative is really subjective. It just depends on where this is, where you're at in the moment, and what your philosophy is. Because like I'll give you an example. When someone has bad energy, most people like you know, like, oh, like I only want to be around positive people, right? I've seen someone who has only been around positive people, and what ends up happening is you condition your brain at a certain level, and it's great, you know, as long as you're in that zone with that kind of energy, you're good. But as soon as you step out of it and you're around that energy that exists, it's all around us, they become hypersensitive to it, like a baby, like it's foreign or something, or like that person's like the devil, or that they're just wrong, or it's like, why can't they see it this way? Like, I'm so optimistic. And it's like, well, in that moment, you're picking up on their energy, and now you're all pessimistic and negative and stuff. So it's like, I learned from observing other people and just seeing that attitude and that shift and stuff. So I wouldn't say I haven't been negative. I have thoughts just like everyone else. I've said this a few times, where I don't have the most wholesome thoughts. I don't have the cleanest, the most innocent. Like, I don't think anybody does. I think we can have some really fucked up thoughts with some great ones. But the thing is that, like, a thought is a thought, and it's not you necessarily. You can be an observer of the thought, and you get to choose, which is what I always say. Like, when you give yourself the power, instead of saying I am not all the horrible things I hear in my head, or the weird terrible things that I would do. Like, that's not me, you know what I mean? So it's like, you are the person that you choose to be in that moment, right? So I don't choose to act on weird or horrible thoughts, you know what I mean? And I've asked that to a few people. I was like, am I the only, like, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who has fucked up thoughts, right? I feel like we all do, right? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, it's a normal thing. So it's the thoughts, they're there, and they come across, and they're really random, but you don't have to choose to participate. And one of the things that help teach you that is meditation. So, because thoughts will kind of come through, and you're supposed to, one form of meditation is to learn how to not engage with a thought. You just let it pass, right? The same way that when you have a thought and you kind of go into pessimism mode and you judge yourself and stuff, you don't want to judge your thoughts. You just want to let them be, because that just adds like another layer of stress, or another layer of like, who gives a fuck? Like, you don't need to do that. Like, and again, that's the same thing when I refer to when someone talks to me about their problems or whatever, and I'm able to kind of just sift through the noise and focus on the solution. It's the same thing. So it's like, oh yeah, I have all these thoughts coming through, but like, I don't care. I'm just gonna focus on what I want to do. So yeah, they happen. Negative, positive thoughts, they're consistent. But I'm optimistic because of this constant reminder that I have in my head. That's not necessarily a mantra, just something that I'm aware of every day. And I remind myself, I use social media as my reminder, because if I know that I'm going to use it anyway, and I find that like posting and sharing the way that I do, it reminds me of who I am, who I'm trying to be, the things I'm doing, and the stuff that I want to essentially brainwash myself into becoming, if I'm not already that. It's just a reminder. So it's just practice. So yeah, I have those thoughts. I see. Word. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, that's you can get. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Because then I just get into this loop and it's not good.
Understood. And I'd say most of us have that struggle, and we're definitely taught that for sure. And can you say hello one more time real quick? Okay, you should be fine.
Hello?
Because I didn't realize the desktop volume was down, which is your audio, and Carla never said anything about it. Okay, so bass boosted version. I don't know if you're on Twitch right now, but there's some action on Twitch. It's okay.
Ooh, no, I'm not on Twitch.
So that is the whole, like, so if you have those kind of thoughts, think of those things as like, I don't know how to phrase it. I always say you got work to do. So if you're yelling at yourself, then that just means there's a lack of empathy for yourself, and there's probably no patience there, right? Because a lot of us are rushing. Trust me, as someone who's like motivated and always trying to build and do shit, like I was on that rush train for a long time, and then I started to connect the dots and realize that that's not a good thing, and that's how I crashed a lot and had mental breakdowns. I would always keep going, though I didn't really ponder all that long. It's probably the hardware. I'm not sure. So what was it? Empathy. Yeah, empathy is hard. Because most people don't have it for themselves, which is why we push this whole self-love thing like crazy. And the thing that kind of works against you and that gets in the way is just the external world. Like, to be honest, like whatever it is that you're exposed to and the life that you're living at this moment. Because in reality, like there is no deadline for me to achieve my goal. But for some people, they place that on themselves. Like, I need to do this before this age because I need to have a kid. You made that up, right? We make that shit up, okay? Like, and that's fine.
Yeah, I don't get that.
And then that.
Yeah, we do.
You sabotage yourself in a way of like, well, you just kind of you put off a wire in a good way. In some ways, it's like, okay, now you're motivated and all these things. But if you're not motivated because your tools are off, your mindset's off when it comes to all these things, then you're just instead going to create anxiety and all these different things, right? So everything is just about balance and understanding how you work. Yeah.
I like the last thing. I can't remember exactly what you said, but I just can you remind me what you said again? Because I really like that. Just caught my attention.
After
like
I
a
said
lot.
it, I kind of spaced. Well, being patient with yourself and not putting a deadline. But then, okay, then I was gonna say that. But if you're in an environment that kind of pushes that, right, because that's your reality, then that at that point you don't feel like you're in control and blah, like that. It's all just like factors put together. So, and like I know school is heavy on deadlines, and so that might seem more important immediately because that's where you're at,
Yeah,
versus the philosophy that I'm helping to try and push, which is more important in the bigger picture. But college it's just a window of time, and so those same rules don't necessarily always apply.
yeah.
Not saying it.
Like I don't understand why college is pushed to like since sophomore or junior year of high school. College is the one thing that's pushed to high school students, and I don't understand it because students will benefit from a gap year or like even then like a couple of years in between high school and college to really understand or at least know about themselves of what they want to do and what their passion is, or if they have multiple passions or even like hobbies and stuff like that. And I like luckily for me I found it in high school because I went to performing arts high school, and I found that I like to sing, but I don't really like to do it in public. But I like engineering, like music production and engineering and things like that. So I was lucky enough to find that like my passion, and my hobby is more like science and mathy kind of stuff. Um, but like students see like high school boys and girls really need some time to um, do other things and like not have the mindset of I need to go to college, I need to graduate in this amount of time, and then I'm gonna have a kid after I establish my career. I don't know why that is pushed so much. Like, if anything, at this moment in time, like I'd be happy if I have a kid. Like, I don't know if like everything that everyone says, oh, your life's gonna be over as soon as you have a kid. Like, it doesn't have to be over. Like they're like, oh, as soon as you're pregnant with the kid, oh, you're done. That's it. That'll become the rest of your life. And it's the one thing that I again don't understand. Like your life isn't over if you have a kid, if you haven't established your career, like that, like your whole life you have to find all of these passions and things that you like to do or that you're really like interested in and that you're sure about. Is that so many college students like change their majors and like add minors or add majors and or they change schools or they take a break off of school or like they drop out because they don't have that time. Like you wouldn't have to waste so much money and so much like of your own time doing these other things that don't really interest you if you would just stop and think for a 2nd, which is the one thing that I think no one really does. Like even myself, I'm guilty of this. Like I won't think sometimes when oh no, I should have done this to establish myself like a bit more like to know that I have X amount of time for this because there are deadlines in school, and sometimes I'm just like, well, fuck it, I don't care, and it's stuff like that. But I talk a lot about like the future personally, and like sometimes I'm like I would be okay if I have a kid. Like that'd be the one like happy thing in my life. Like I wouldn't be upset. Like it wouldn't derail my life in any way. And that's what people think like a kid is or a family or like if you have it before your career. Like I've seen many like successful stories of like, yeah, I had a kid when I was a teen and I'm this person now. And it hasn't derailed their life. If anything, it gave them more of a motivation to do for themselves, including their family. So yeah. How would you
I
feel
would work so much
if you
harder,
were to have a
and
kid?
so I have
That's
to
sad.
act like I already did have a kid, and so that's just kind of the motivation just keeps going. Yeah, it's the same thing as like when you hit, you could say rock bottom, or you can mentally instill something to just do what you need to get done. Again, like I'm really happy with where I'm at inside my head. And it's been like this for a long time. And I forgot what I was gonna say. So I don't know. If I had a kid, I'd be okay. I would just have to rework some things in my head and just kind of keep going. But yeah, I'd be okay. I don't think it's the end of anything. I think as long as you choose to go, you can always go.
You can be as hardworking as you make yourself to be, I believe. You can, there are certain things that motivate certain people, whether it's um, personal, like whether it's things that they've had to go through, like bullshit in life, motivates them. Like, I don't want to have this life in the future. I want to be better than this. I want to be better than I am right now. And it's that kind of thing like motivates me personally, because I've had not a shitty life, but like I've had a lot of bumps, a lot of mountains in child life. I think that's how you say it. And, oh my god, I'm kind of getting emotional right now. But like learning from all those experiences, I know that want like I want to be a better person than the people that I grew up and around with, and I want to overcome all of these things that are in my life. Like, I wouldn't say it's hard for me to forgive people, but if they really did a number on me, like it'll take time. And that kind of, it's the fact that I know that all of these things can happen. That people have it so much worse. Oh my gosh. They're like, people are going through some really awful shit. Like, they could be going through stuff right now and you wouldn't know. Like, I'm a person that just plasters a smile on my face and I call it a day. Just so I don't have to deal with.
Oh, that's what they said.
Oh, the stream went offline.
That's okay. You can still keep going. It's back up.
Okay. But me knowing that people are going through a lot of worse things than I have ever gone through or will ever go through, possibly, I don't know, just makes me want to be a better person than I am right now, to support those people and for my future children, if I have any. It's been on my mind ever since I was little. Like, I can remember a time when I was like really, really young, maybe like 10 years old, and I was thinking, when I grow up, I'll adopt children. And I don't know why, but I've never understood it until like now. And again, this is something that's personal to me because I'm about to share something very personal. But apparently, I won't know if I'll be able to have children in the future for medical reasons and stuff like that. And so that adoption was in my head ever since I was really young. And now I understand it more, and like why I was like, I don't even know how, like, if I even knew anything, but I've just always known, like, I don't know if I'll have kids. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to have children. I've said that to myself, like, again, like 10 years old, 11, maybe 9. And I've said it, I'll adopt children. I'll be better than what I am right now. And I'll be there for children. I've seen so many, like, there's so many videos like online of like kids like crying and being adopted and adopting like brothers and sisters together. And I have a very big heart for that, because I know that a lot of people are going through worse than what I am right now.
I mean, you'll be able to have kids.
I got real for a second.
Kids.
I got.
Because science, and I believe in it a lot. We do have to wrap up. It's 8:30, yeah.
Oh, do we?
But I mean, you could always.
Oh, it's 8:30. I didn't know.
And ride the wave, ride the conversation, influence the conversation. Because Enrique, I don't know if he's sleeping, but
No.
okay. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm into that. It's all here, and whether we continue this in real life, or through another stream or whatever, or you could pick up in the chat. 'Cause I mean, I'm pretty sure Enrique is going to talk about growth. Maybe some adversity, maybe some advice. So, I mean, I think motivation is very interesting, and it's always going to be in the picture, and how to find it and keep it. There's so many layers to find, like sustaining shit and like breaking it down, and knowing what it is. I'll probably write a piece on that. But there's a lot of elements.
Yeah.
You gotta be patient. Just be patient. And always, I think the biggest thing is, like, you have to make sure you value your opinion more than anyone. Value your opinion of yourself more than anyone else's opinion of you. Because when you truly can say, I do not give a fuck, like, actually, and be totally cool with hurting people, that's when it starts. Like, on some real stuff. Like, people walking on eggshells, like, just trying to be something that they're not, or because they're afraid to hurt someone. It's like the growth starts there, and you have to be totally okay with that.
Yeah.
And then when people
That hasn't. That's like a true statement.
fuck that.
Like, I feel like sometimes I have to be so careful around people.
You didn't hurt people.
Like, I don't want to hurt.
If you
I don't
can
want to
flip
hurt
your
them because I don't know.
I was gonna say, if you can
Like,
flip
I know
your
it's
perspective, it's
definitely.
not you hurting them, it's just
Go
you
ahead. Go ahead.
revealing a part of them that they never fixed. Yeah, so when we talk about triggers and stuff, it's not your fault that someone has a trigger. You know what I mean? It's something that are, like, if you have certain things that, like, really hurt and that suck, you should be working on it. And life is going to keep reminding you, and if you serve as that reminder in that moment for that person, it's not your fault, and you shouldn't necessarily feel bad about it. And I'm, like, trying to help people understand this mindset, because it's different. It's like, and then if someone comes out your life and they're spewing negative energy, right, it's not necessarily that. They're coming from a place of fear and protection, especially if they care about you and they just want the best for you, and what they know at their point in their life with their knowledge is limited. And if they don't have faith, or if they don't have all these different things, there's so many different elements. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's a terrible person, but you also just have to be empathetic towards that, and then just continue on and being like, I know this hurts them now, but, and the way to truly help them is just to be the best you that you can be. Unapologetically is, like, something else that I like to say. And people do it. Like, when you go through that process, it gets real fun. It sucks because you cry and you get anxious and stuff. It starts to kind of go away because you're learning how to let go as you do that. But I've watched it over and over with different people, and it's so cool to watch. And it's the worst thing, especially when I'm like the bridge, right? And if people know that, I get heat. And it's either directly I get heat for it, or it's just, like, super subtle, where it's like, I'm the reason why this person is different now. But I'm not. It's not because I went and, like, all I'm doing is opening up the pathways that they've been bullshitting and blocking off. And so I'm like, no, you're allowed to do that, and you're allowed to do this and to be this, and you should try living for yourself first, because I'm pretty sure you don't want to feel like this for the rest of your life, because you don't have to, right? So I'm excited for you to hurt a lot of people, and for the whole world to come crashing on your life, because I know it hasn't happened yet. And it's really easy to tell, because when people are just, when you just are not like this and just going through life like, I know what I'm doing and I'm confident, I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's rolling. If you're not that right now, then that just means you have so much shit that you really have to work through, and it's hard. When Cullin talked about being uncomfortable, like that's really uncomfortable. Like hurting, feeling like you're responsible for hurting someone is really uncomfortable. But when you can really start seeing the truth of like, oh no, it's like, I'm just gonna talk about dropping out of school, right? So it, from someone who's in it, in some way, it's like an egotistical thing. It can be, right? I'm just gonna give a random example. It could be like, oh, so you're saying like school's not worth it, but like I'm in it and I'm paying this much and it has to be worth it and I'm gonna make the most of it, right? And then they're coming at your life for X, Y, and Z, and it's because it's a reflection of them, okay? And you're going against what they believe. So yeah, but if it starts happening for you, it's okay, you know. Like, let's see, I've indirectly caused family feuds a few times. I've indirectly I indirectly influenced a potential marriage that's not on the table anymore. So it's like, that's real shit. Like an engagement to like going to have a wedding to then being like calling it off and to just now there's no hope for it. Like I played a part in that. And that's so hard for like, and that's because the person decided to live their truth. Finally, right? Instead of feeling all of this crap. It's fucking hard as hell, and trust me, like you hurt the person that you were with, and your friends will judge you. Your family's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then the other side of the family is like, "What's going on?" And then you personally live with that guilt until you learn how to overcome it, and all these different things. But at the same time, this person's all like, "This is the happiest I've ever been in my life," or like, "This is so cool. I'm like not being judged," and I'm like, "I'm so excited for this." It's like that's real. You know what I mean? Some elements of their life are shaky, but that's not important. That what's important is that all of this is being pieced together the right way, and that they now are finally developing the skills to take on all of that crap, which they couldn't do before, which is why they would rather step on eggshells and try to walk through life that way. But now it's like, oh, I'm gonna be homeless. Oh, I kind of don't have money like that. I don't have a lover to support me, and like, man, people are gonna judge me, and like all that. And now he's learning how to develop the skills to overcome all those things, which is more important. And then when we talked about control, like having that control of your life and knowing that you can change, that's really important.
Yeah.
And so you can do it. So I'm excited to see when that is. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, everyone has a different pace. Some people take their time. Some people are really rash and are so hungry that they just go head in. And some people have been able to like blow me the fuck away with how fast they move. So
I think it's something that I'll have to get used to and be comfortable with.
I mean, I did the whole thing myself too. I broke all the rules, and I'm like, again, the odd one out all the time. Family functions, odd one out all the time. It's all good though, because I believe in what I am doing more than what they're doing. And I'm also not like a dick towards them. I'm super understanding of where they came from and how they think and where they're at. And so if I want to build a communication with them, I'm not going to compromise who I am. I'm still going to be respectful, but I'm bringing everything that I know to the table. And like, you know, like when I first, for example, when I was like, I'm going to stop eating meat, no one thought I could do it. That doesn't matter to me, you know. And then like people still offering me food and stuff, and I'm like, well, it's been like well over 2 years. And maybe 2.5 now. And I mean, I've had Korean barbecue like twice and like an In-N-Out burger once. So it's like a few random occasions for very specific things. But I've stuck to what I believe in for certain things, and I'm not going to waver that. Some people might be like, oh, I feel bad because now I can't eat the food that like grandma made and this and I'm like, nope, I just don't eat it because it's not good for me. And then it strikes a chord in their body real fast, and they're like, I only live once, whatever, and I'll be like, you keep saying that now until you're in the hospital, and then everyone starts crying, and you have a heart disease, and then you're gonna be like, what happened? It just kind of came out of nowhere. It's like, no, it's not how it works, my friend. I'm like, and no, then they start to care, and it's like, People are full of crap. They don't get it. It's not. And then someone would say, "I'm here for a good time, not a long time." I'm like, that's funny, but, and I agree. Like, you should be able to do whatever you want, but it's really important that you at least go through certain consciousness stages and get the information that you need. So I'm gonna give you an example. You can eat like complete shit and like drink alcohol, do all the worst stuff in the world, right? That's fine. People do it anyway. No one cares. But there's a way to clean that out and have a fresh slate and then do it again. But at least now you have a system of cleaning versus consistently compiling that stuff and then being sick. Like, say if I was fully clean, I'm gonna have myself a nice burger, and then I'm already like, if my system is running nice and well, I should be able to filter that out quickly. But I can enhance that with making smarter eating decisions, and then be like, all right, cool. Like, I can still eat my burger, but at least now I know how to clean myself. Which one of my directors, that's how she operates. She detoxes once in a while, and she doesn't really eat meat like that. I don't know why we're talking about food. I kind of just got into that subject, but just knowing it. And I talked about family and being the outcast and going vegetarian, vegan. Okay, yeah. But yeah, that's that. Excuse me.
Yeah. And like the saying "you only live once" is so wrong. Like, I believe in like you living your life to the fullest till the day you die. Because no, you're good. You have to. You live every single day of your life, and you have to make the most of it until the day you die, because you only die once. And like, you're not gonna do anything after you
I have
die.
a different theory, but
when you're dead, you're dead, and that's
I'll tell
it.
you a little after. I'll tell you in the stream. You said you're gonna leave soon? Yeah, he's gonna leave soon. I'm gonna pee, and I'm gonna have Enrique come on.
All right, yeah, my computer is gonna lose power in a bit.
Me up or whatever, and because that's what people do. You know, I understand needing a helping hand, bars, so you can just reach out whenever you need to reach out and not judge yourself for doing it. Some people do that too. It's like, oh, I feel bad, I hit him up, and I'll have all these stupid thoughts. I'm like, no, like that's my thing, and just do it, and it's fine. And it could be the most petty shit in the world, but it's fine because that's what I'm here to do. Because that's what it takes. Okay. It's my favorite. That's why I love doing it every Sunday.
I really like this real talk a lot, and
You have carrots?
Carrots?
Yeah,
nah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go check what she has carrots.
Damn, I kind of want some carrots.
I have carrots,
Maybe we can go steal some
but I'm gonna eat that later.
Wouldn't need to steal it if schools taught us how to farm.
You can learn from Mill City Grows.
I know.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna go pee, and then we're gonna set up. I don't know if you could still watch if you wanted to. So.
Yeah.
Peace.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Bye.